Yeah! So in this game, I was viciously assaulted by 15 top players who were all coaching ZXC Vista here. They're all top players, right? Sneaky has had more ranked games than basically anybody else. Whatever, he's a top player. Axis is Axis is ranked 29. Dot Spy is definitely a top player. He was up there as well. I don't know exactly what rank he is. There he is, rank 44. Griffin 65 is rank 16. Icarus is very good. He wins a lot of tournaments, but he doesn't play ranked. Jake's probably the best player here. This is Skate. Skate is rank 12. Nocturna is rank 14. Snow Wolfie is rank 17. And then, yeah, the other guys, they're all in like the top a couple hundred, but I can't be bothered finding them. There's Zio there, here's Zio. So yeah, they're all top players, and they all viciously set upon me in this game, and I had to fight all by my lonesome. So let's see how that goes.
Hello, I like money.
Right, subscribe to the channel.
Remember to subscribe to the channel. Right, hello and welcome to this Warno 1v1 game, or it's more like a 1v15, where I was viciously set upon by 15 people, all training ZXC Vista here. I'm playing 11th ACAV, and my opponent is playing KDA. They did know it was me, because I don't change my name fast enough. Also, half the guys in the flipping chat are friends with me on Steam. Yeah, we're going to have to fix that problem. So I was originally going to do deck reviews, but I was just so depressed by how I was viciously assaulted that I can't be bothered anymore. I think that's a pretty good excuse as far as excuses go. And yeah, so let's talk about the map. This is Chemical Duel. I personally prefer this side because you can attack Hotel reasonably easily by just taking these buildings and then sitting behind them. But you're weaker on, well, okay, I mean, the side zones are basically the same. Some people say that this is the bad side, but I think it's the better side, because of this, right? And I'm playing 11th ACAV, which is a very bad division for this map. 11th ACAV wants to play a very narrow game. It wants to be narrow. It wants to not spread out much. It's got these M1A1s that it needs to buy. And without that, it doesn't really have that much infantry. It has one card of IFVs, which is more than some divisions. It just can't play wide very effectively. KDA, on the other hand, is absolutely excellent on this map because KDA gets a lot of trash that it can spread out everywhere, and it can also use its air force. Yeah, so it's a very bad matchup for me, and it's a 1v15. It's very depressing. Looking at the deployments, we might as well start with this. So ZXC Vista streams on Twitch if you want to watch somebody getting coached by 15 guys. And he is now single. I'm sorry to hear that, mate, unless it was for the best, in which case it's a good thing. He says he loves me. I mean, I guess he's getting quite desperate. And he says free Icarus, so I guess we now have to explain what that is. Basically, Icarus keeps getting banned from places started arguments with people and they're trying to get him unbanned from the War Yes Discord, which these days doesn't really matter so much because War Yes doesn't really host events anymore. And because Icarus got banned from War Yes, he started doing, well, I mean, he hasn't said this, but it seems to me that this is why this is happening. He started doing loads of events for another Discord called FOB. And those events have pretty big prize pools, and they're pretty well done events, actually. He's done a pretty good job of it. He has help from Atler and the rest, but I think he's the one leading it. And so the fact that Icarus got kicked out of War Yes was actually a good thing for the Warno community, because it means that we now have more events. So I'm against freeing Icarus for that reason. Anyway, let's talk about the deployments. I know that I can't beat him in a stand-up fight. Not only does he play more than me these days, he's got like 3 separate accounts, at least 2. He might have 3. And the matchup is not good for me. The map is not great. KDA got buffed quite a bit because they made reservists less bad, which makes KDA a lot better. The reason I'm playing 11th ACAV is because 11th ACAV gets 1 reservist unit. It gets 2, actually. I think the BGS are reservist. Yeah, so it gets 2 reservist units. And they've been buffed by that. So I thought maybe I can play 11th ACAV and play a bit wider than I normally would because the Heimatjäger are less bad now. That was the idea anyway. So looking at the deployments, I've basically opened 2 fighters, only one has spawned right now, and an A10 Warthog. And the idea, and these 2 recon helos. The idea is I'm gonna rush Alpha with a Black Hawk, the Scout, and the A10s. I think I might have bought 2 A10s actually. It's 1 or 2. We'll see in a few seconds, right? And I'm going to use the scouts to spot, and I'm going to try and take Alpha with a rush, which he won't be expecting, presumably, because this is supposed to be a slow tank division. Although if you've been playing long enough, when this division first came out, it was an A10 attack division. So, and he did used to play back then, I think, but maybe a bit less. So this is like an old school strat, which has been nerfed a lot, because the A10 got nerfed, and like the price went up, the gun got worse, that sort of thing. So it's just not as good anymore. And AA got better with the suppression on miss and stuff like that, so it's not as effective as it used to be. Also, the F-16s, like the prices came up, they went back down, so I don't know, I think they're still a little bit more expensive than they were back in the day when people used to do this strat. So that's the plan, right? And then for mid, we've got 3 Heimatjäger, just 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, just to hold the fort, we've got an LRS for Delta, just to make sure he doesn't come down here, and a CV for Bravo Delta. And that's all we can afford. Switching to our opponent's deployment, I don't think he's opened any planes. He's just gone for a very wide infantry spam deployment, right? So he's got 1 Aufklärer going here. These are just 4-men scout units, nothing special. And then, 1 going to here, 1 going to here, an Aufklärer going over to here. So I assumed that because he might attack Delta or he might push mid, and I didn't know which one he was going to do. So this is why this is coming over here, and then it can swing over here. Then behind that, we've got 2 CVs. These are nice cheap ones, so he can afford them. And then these ZUs to kill infantry are very, very powerful. They gave them a minimum range of 250 meters, but the forest fighting LOS range is 350 meters, and they haven't written down anywhere in game that they have this minimum range. So if you're not paying attention, well, you just don't know about it unless you watch these videos, right? But now you have to run at it as opposed to running away if you're in a forest. If you're in the open, you're never going to get there. So they're still OP, basically. So you can tell how good they are by how many he's bought. And he spends the rest of the game buying these as well. So yeah, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here. He is selling the transports, which is a mistake, really. Then KDA Schutzen, so this is what it's all about. The militia, okay, so basically the reservist trait got better, and then they added the militia trait. So if you have reservist and militia put together, you're basically just the old reservist. So this isn't actually that much better. The KDA Schutzen isn't that much better. There are a couple other guys who are reservist, which will benefit. But yeah, the KDA Schutzen themselves, I don't think have actually improved that much, if at all. So yeah, 3 KDA Schutzen there. So that goes against my original thesis, actually. But yeah, whatever. Then 3 unspeakable ones, so ATGM. So he's very much intending to fight around here. He thinks I'm going to push Hotel. He's got 1 going for Alpha, though. And then a book to stop planes. And it started with the weapon off, so it doesn't get seeded. Grenade launcher, T-54, 2 packs. So basically, I'm starting with, on the ground, I suppose you could class this as a ground unit. 5 ground units. 6 if you count the CV. He's starting with, what are these in tens? Not 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Not including the transports, so... and his transports are gun transports, whereas mine aren't. So, yeah, 22 versus 6. But that's the matchup. Now we'll cover the game. Right, so they're off, and it's time for me to thank the generous channel joiners, generously joining the channel. They get the names on the screen, they get the videos early, they back me up when I get viciously assaulted by 15 pro players, some of whom reset their ranks to beat up noobs. and are completely unapologetic about it. But yeah, it was two A10s and it was two F-15s, F-16s, yikes. I'm losing it. It's just I'm getting the morale damage from being assaulted by 15 people simultaneously. So we've got the scout here. Scout is not seeing anybody so far. And we've got this one here. So the air cav troopers, they do slowly start to overtake the airborne forward deployment on the bigger the map, you know, because this goes faster than this, right? This is only recon forward deployment though. KDA doesn't have any airborne forward deployment. So these are viciously difficult to micro, and then it misses anyway. But we get the transport, but we don't get the guy, and then it actually has the second best short-range missile in the game on it. So we do actually kill a transport there and whatever was in it, but that time it didn't count. But my fighters were out of position because I'm big newbie. So then I fire 4 missiles at him and we do get a hit there. His book is actually moving, so it doesn't do anything. Here we go, big kills here, big kills here, big kills here. So a bunch of those guys died in the transports there. 1, 2, 3, 4. So he knew this was up because he saw it and then he didn't unload his guys. So he's a big silly Billy, lack of respect for the A10 basically, and you know, it does have 20% ECM, but the second shot of the book hits it. It's not quite in range to get the CV upgrade. Over here we have managed to land. The minigun was massively over-nerfed 2 patches ago and now doesn't do anything, and then this one just dies to the T-54AMs. I thought there was only one, but there's actually 2. Then, so the fighters only have 140 seconds autonomy, whereas the packed MiG-21 Bison has 240 seconds of autonomy. So that's just one of a number of ways of how packed is better than NATO in this game. This is a bunch of packed. They just need to make them all 240 basically. Anyway, so this one runs out of fuel and automatically evacs. So that's why this isn't dead, because of that fuel problem. So it is something you do feel, particularly at the highest level. So tornadoes all have 240 seconds availability. Britain, of course, a packed nation. But yeah, most of the other planes have 140 on NATO, whereas all the packed ones have 240. And I think it was just an oversight. I don't think it's on purpose, but it is kind of a big deal. Anyway, this Black Hawk is losing to KDA Führer, right? This is really not a bad vehicle. And so he buys another plane, and my jets are down. My jets are down. I can't do anything because they've got 100 seconds less of less fuel than my adversary. So you know, it's not fantastic. But yeah, this is so I start dropping bombs on this guy, but these T-54s are apparently quite survivable against this thing. It only dealt half damage, so that's not ideal. Over here, I've only got 1 aircav troopers left. But the thing is that this is actually a fairly decent fighter, in that it's got 30% ECM, and it's actually got mega missiles. So this guy fires all his missiles, because he fired a bunch over here, so he only had about 3 to shoot at me with, and because of the 30% ECM, I make it. And this guy was still reloading, so that's why he didn't shoot. So that's why I took my chances there, because that is the way that should happen. Sadly, as we know in Warno, things don't always go the way they should, depending on who's playing. And so yeah, that was a risky gambit, but I thought it would work out because it should. I did the mental maths, and that time it actually did. But yeah, all we did is 1/2 a damage to a T-54AM. So I think it was probably a mistake to buy that. I probably should have just bought a bunch more infantry instead, because like I'm getting messed up by these T-54s. Interesting thing about the T-54s, it's cheaper than it used to be and it fires faster than it used to, but this is a heat round, which means that this penetration doesn't increase with decreased distance as a kinetic round would, such as this Marder Milan. This does have a theoretical maximum to stop it from just one-shotting heavy tanks at minimum range, which is what used to happen. But yeah, I'm doing too much panicking here. The Sea Knight, I bring this in to try and kill these guys, but I need fighter cover because, you know, my fighters are all down because they take ages to get their fuel back and they have low autonomy. So yeah, that was silly of me. So he's making a big comeback here, all those 15 guys in that channel coaching him. And he's bought some additional planes. My planes have finally got their fuel back. and we lose the Sea Knight, but then we 2v1 him here, and then he brings this one round, so we just 2v1 him again. So that was kind of daft. He should have microed better, but then that book hit us with one shot, and the Strela hit us, so that was really, really unlucky that the book and the Strela fired. Okay, there are 2 Strelas here, but they haven't even lost... What? So it must have been a crit. Editor's note here, Hippie then spends the rest of the game complaining about this crit, which killed his plane. What actually happened was the enemy MiG's guns took 1 damage off the F-16, and then the book got a regular hit, not a crit hit. So look forward to listening to Hippie complain for the rest of the game about this 0.5% crit chance, which isn't actually what happened. It must have been a crit, because these guys haven't lost ammo, and there's no thing here. So basically what happened there was he got a 0.5% chance to deal additional damage, and that one-shot my plane. So not only is he playing the better division for this map, and he plays more games than me, and he's got 15 guys coaching me, he's also getting 0.5% crit chances which kill my planes, which I desperately need to keep alive in order to keep the human wave at bay and stop his bomber waves as well. So I wasn't very happy about that, and I did say something in the chat when I saw that happen. I assumed it was the Strelas hitting it as well, which would have been unlucky enough to begin with, because they don't have very high accuracy. It's gone up now because they're near the Führer, but otherwise it'd be 40, and then I've got 30% ECM. But no, it was the book getting a 0.5% crit chance. So I'm not very happy about that. In the meantime, the T-54s are messing me up, and I really do struggle against these guys at close range because I don't have any good close range AT. However, you know, Dragon 2 does get a rear shot there and still doesn't one-shot him. So then we use the A10, which has come back, and we get him with the A10. And the book misses, which is good news, but then the Strela hits. So thankfully, I don't know, I guess he had this in a dumb place or something, because it really should have fired again there. It's probably these trees blocking its LOS. So that's, yeah, that could have gone worse for us. We got the 2 tanks and we didn't lose the vehicle, but it was wounded. Which you'd expect, really, with that much AA. So now he's buying even more Strelas and another book. So he's got some more Strelas. He's also dumped a bunch of KDA shuts in here. Now, the other reason KDA has been buffed is because autocannons have been nerfed, which means that killing these high HP KDA squads is actually very difficult now, or at least more difficult, because the autocannons don't do so much against them. Mech rifles are really kind of underwhelming now. They used to be very good, but the Dragons got nerfed and they lost an MG, and they used to have 11 men. It was 10 or 11. So anyway, so we've now bought the seed, and the LGBT's back. So he left his radar on, even though we've got the best seed plane in the game on this div. I believe this is the best. I mean, you could say the Prowler's the best, but it costs 300 points, so... And then we've got the fighters out, and he just kind of YOLOs his bomber there, switches off the book, and the seed gets automatically evac'd by suppress on miss. I wanted to keep it around, but I couldn't. And then we've got the F-16 here. That misses a bunch of missiles, but it gets it with the guns. And he's left the book off because he doesn't know that the seed isn't there anymore. If he did, he could switch this back on and kill this, so... That was a mistake from him. He could have just switched this back on. Anyway, the LGBT I'm sending over here to try and deal with the KDA Schutzen, which my div really struggles against because I've only got one set of autocannons to begin with. Man, I hit him dead on. But he's such a beefy squad, didn't even kill him. And the Strel's miss, which you'd expect, really. They're very bad. But yeah, I would need a bunch of Marders here. I've got one, but I saw this, so I couldn't really do much. Anyway, we brought the A10 back in, and we used it to kill the anti-tank gun there. And we've got the F-16 circling. So yeah, the Strela's hit me again, which is not ideal. And the grenade launchers here are very effective against me. I did finally manage to buy one M1A1, but yeah, there's attacks happening in 2 places, but in high-level games, this is what happens. So I'm trying to run a Heimat Jäger into this Aufklärer, trying to pay attention to everybody. Over here, we are losing. So A10 comes in, and I attack position this, because I can't see it anymore. Sadly, the splash radius is basically 0, so it just doesn't do anything. But this guy doesn't have an AT, so I just send this in, and we do actually get hit by that Strela again there. So yeah, it's a shame that we lost vision there. But the dragon, it should really be shooting the CV instead of the... yeah, very exciting. In the meantime, the pack takes out the Heimat Jaeger. We did try and bring a Black Hawk with air cav troopers in here, and it died. So he's managed to get back in here. His Strelas are an MTL... Oh no, that would be for this, I guess. So we're now bringing in more Black Hawks and the Hog, because the rockets are pretty decent against infantry. And I brought this in just to do some strafing, but now he's got... So he's actually got 2 cards of books, so he's got 4 books, which is a pretty good counter to my strategy. So I'm trying to adjust my infantry, but basically I don't really play this game anymore. I just play Broken Arrow, so I'm kind of bad. Anyway, so we shoot our seed plane shot, and we actually do get one, because he left his radars on again there. And this is a very nice seed missile, 65% accuracy and good range. On a very maneuverable aircraft, actually has 40% ECM there. Anyway, it's also got the AIM-9 Megas, which are the second best short-range AA missile in the game. The best one's obviously the packed one. And so we take that out with this, because it is a multi-role plane. That's the point of these planes. And the A-10 as well. You've got to see them as multi-role, because they've got the AIM-9 Mega on them. So it's a great way to get more value. But yeah, we lost the Hog, and we lost the Black Hawk here, so we're getting really messed up over here, and it's not going amazingly here, but we have managed to push him back. It's mainly just the planes, right? So we know that the seed still got... But this is 140 seconds, as opposed to the 240 on his plane, so it's running out of fuel again. So it's kind of annoying. So hopefully they can fix that, because it doesn't make any sense for a MiG-21 to be better at it than an F-16 at flying around. It's just... Anyway, so then he hits me again with a book there. So that was a 30% ECM getting hit by a Strela and a book. One of them was switched off, so he only fired once and he got me. At this point, I'm really getting quite annoyed. They've got reasonably high accuracy, but I've got high ECM. And, you know, especially with that 0.5% crit now, that's basically... I've lost 2 planes that I shouldn't have lost. The Strela 2Ms are really garbage, but... Yeah, that book shooting once and hitting once is always depressing. And, you know, this is about to run out of fuel. So he brings this in for the ACAV, and I smoke it. But then he's going for the Hog now. It doesn't have missiles on it, but the gun would definitely kill this. So I'm trying to get over to him with this, but I got to watch out for those books, which never miss, right? So I got to be careful. And here's the double book, except that time... It did miss, so I guess I'm getting my RNG back or whatever. It's quite a difficult game to play competitively, Warno, because so much hangs on these dice rolls. Anyway, so then he fires his rocket and he kills me there, but we get him. So we lose the ACAV, which was very sad. I realised my mistake too late, basically. And now his books are missing, right? So what I do here is I attack position the ground, and then then they shoot twice and they hit twice, right? So I guess it was just silly of me to do that. I might have died on the way out, and then I sent this in, which I don't really know why I did that. I guess I was just really annoyed. But he left his weapons off because, I don't know, he's retarded, I guess. So... Yeah, the air RNG game is what it is, but at the end of the day, 4 bucks is 4 bucks, right? So we've killed 2 and he's still got 2 left. In the meantime, we saw him crossing here, so these reinforcements were going here, and I had to transfer them. And I'm bringing up the mech rifles dragons, so he's managed to get in the corner here, but we're still in this corner. And yeah, it's very interesting. So I wanted to push down here because I didn't actually know how much was here. Because I figured pushing here would basically be impossible, because I kept seeing him flood it with infantry, and I really do struggle to kill that infantry. And now I've bought a howitzer because, you know, for stuff like this, it's just an anti-tank gun. But I lost sight of it and I knew it was moving, so I just put it there and hoped it would hit something. So the KDA Schutzen RPG is very bad. That was actually a side shot, and it only did 4 damage to me. So I should really turn to face him. But yeah, it's very bad. It's got a very low accuracy. and so I wasn't particularly worried about that. I am a lot more worried about this, because I don't have any AA there. In the meantime, he's coming back in here again with his superior infantry quantity, and we do actually hit this, so that's nice, isn't it? I assumed it would be going into this forest, and I was correct in that assertion. But yeah, the Gov... I don't really like the Gov, I don't really think it's very good. But ever since they nerfed autocannons against helos, like this only goes 1250, so this actually outranges it now, or is that didn't used to happen? The thing is, he's well within the range here. Anyway, so I bought an Eyehawk to try and deal with this. Yeah, and then the guy with no cohesion kills my Marder and dodges the Eyehawks and dodges 2 of the AIM-9 Megas at minimum range. Pack TCM is just built differently, I suppose. So I'm really struggling at this point in the game, thinking back, to maintain my cool. I'm getting a bit upset because I feel like everything's against me. I know he's in a Discord chat full of top players, and I know he's got the better div for the map, and it just feels like I'm getting quite unlucky. And you know, maybe some of it is in my head, right? So these dice rolls, sometimes it's hitting, sometimes it's missing, but like that, you know, that should have died really. And you know, the book shooting once and killing a plane in one shot, it just shouldn't be in the game. It's just dumb. So anyway, he's back, because we literally can't kill these guys as fast as he can buy them. But the Hog's not so bad at it, right? And you know, I think they did something to the gun. Also, it's got this really dumb target switching thing where it just doesn't finish killing this, even though it can see it, because now he's on low cohesion, it swaps to the next one. That is a really annoying problem in this game. But you know, Broken Arrow has its own problems, and look at that, 2 books fired and they didn't hit me, so they did, however, evac me. So yeah, we lose the Marder 1A1 Milan. The Strela hits me, and I just land it, right? So we're losing big here. He's brought up some real Mott Schutzen, and these guys have good RPGs, so things are getting a lot harder for us here now. But we can see this CV. He's got the plane. This hasn't been repaired, but look, my missile. This is a better ASF than this is. It actually is. It's got better missiles, and the gun is better. So at least the book didn't hit us, right? At least the book didn't hit us. But anyway, we killed the thing here, and we killed a T-54 because I've got a Jaguar 2 up here now. I bought some CVs to deal with the infantry, but there's no more infantry anymore, and now these aren't so useful, but maybe next time there's infantry, and the books do hit us. We are at max range there, right, which is why the accuracy is so low. I'm not sure what happens with the accuracy after you exit the max range, if it keeps going down. The closer you get, it does go up, but if you leave it, does it go down? Anyway, we're trying to use this artillery to deal with the infantry, and we knew he was in here because we saw him come in before we lost this position. He does have a lot of CVs on this div. Like, in general, KDA gets a lot. Sadly, oh no, I think we will get him here, actually. So he's trying to escape, but... oh no, it landed right next to him and didn't do anything, so... what can you do, eh? Anyway, we bought a mortar, and I thought that he was here, but actually he's here. But we've taken this back, so even though he has this whole zone, it's actually still +2 to us. The thing is, once he takes this, as long as this is still in here, it'll be a +1 to us, so we'll actually still be winning. But at this point, I'm starting to... I think it's now. I'm getting a bit concerned that he'll come for Delta. Like, he's basically... once he's taken this, he should come for Delta. Or he should just be doing that anyway, because I can't play wide. He needs to appreciate that I can't play wide, so he should be appreciating that. Anyway, the CVs aren't really that good at all, but I don't have any... I only have 1 card of IFVs, right? So I've got to get what I have, right? I got to use what I have. In the meantime, I tried to cross here, but this thing killed a bunch of guys, and, you know, the planes killed a bunch of guys, so it's just not ideal. And then this is on the ground, so it dies to the ATGM. And things are looking really bad for me. You know, he's got in here now. The thing is, I don't think he can really push in here anymore. We've now got Abrams and CVs. But in the central island, he's taking it. But if he fully takes this, we're actually even. But that will give him a positional advantage because he can play wide. The thing is, he's just way too fixated on this zone. He really should... like, imagine if all this came down here. There's only 1 unit. Whereas I know he's attacking this, so I keep putting guys there. Anyway, these ZUs, you know, they're very effective against infantry, and they stop helicopters, so the only way you can really clear them out is with artillery. So I'm trying to hit the CV here, because I saw it go behind this, and the CV, I'm trying to use the CV on it, but I can't actually see it, because this has mediocre optics. In the meantime, we lost the CV here, so it's going quite badly. Our lack of infantry compared to him is really beginning to show, and then sadly this misses, which is rough. And then it misses again. Oh, I suppose that was a partial hit. I'm pretty sure he gets out here. Yeah, he does. It just all lands around him and doesn't do anything, and then he just leaves. Because I remember seeing him leave. Look, I'm very upset about that. The CEV's routed. So yeah, I remember coping a lot. I remember getting quite upset. Because look, this is very close, right? And even so, I saw him stop, so... And yeah, this martyr, Mr. Ficht here, is bravely trying to hold off all these KDA, but you see, he's not actually doing a whole lot to them, because the autocannons did get nerfed, so these, which is a change I agree with, but it does mean that this is just not as good against this. So, yeah, we're trying to hit the CV again. In the meantime, he's coming in here again, but we've got the Marder all the way up here now, and we've got the M1A1. Then he buys the Napalm Grad to kill my CV, so that's really rough, actually. So he gets that, and then we miss again. And then we hit him. So it's fully neutralized, because we both killed the CV. So we did eventually get that. But yeah, this Napalm Grad's really gnarly. I'm surprised... Like, if he just slowed down a bit more, he could buy a Malka and stuff, and he could really mess me up. But he just keeps throwing infantry into the breach, and it is working. He's pushing me out, right? But yeah, we got his CV there. He's got another one here that he can send straight in. He still has this position. In the meantime, you know, we're trying to deal with these guys. So the Mech Rifles Dragon aren't so bad against these. It's just because they do actually have a small range advantage, so they can take those out. But yeah, like, Special Forces do lose to KDA Schutzen because the number of people is very important. Then he sends out a seed, and for some reason, like, he doesn't leave it here long enough to shoot this. Then he sends a bunch of KDA Schutzen in here. But in the meantime, I've crossed this bridge, and I've put 2 Black Hawks with aircraft troopers, and I've got the CV, and I've got the CEV, and I'm bringing Stingers. Over here, his push here just all died on the road. I mean, so much for 15 guys coaching him. He didn't even unload them. And now, you know, we're trying to clear this out. The seed, I think, went on a helicopter. But yeah, he just took a lot of deaths there. Then the Napalm comes in. Thankfully, it went on the Marder. If he went on the Abrams, it would probably kill it. Because it deals the same damage to armored targets as... It doesn't matter what the armor is, I'm pretty sure. So, in the meantime, we get in here, and he's not got a CV in here. But he does have a CV in Foxtrot, which I guess he could send back to... what zone is that called? Golf? But yeah, his push here, which consisted of really quite a lot of units, has been thwarted, mainly because of the way he attacked. And yeah, now he's trying to napalm me here. In the meantime, we're getting a CV back into this corner. We know this is basically lost, but I'm trying to hold this. Not sure where he's going, frankly. That's just a mistake. And he's trying to CV me there. And he's not moving that into there, and then he throws in the towel. I think if he'd got another 10 minutes, he probably would have beaten me. Or at least he would have started getting a point tick. But I think he just got a bit too demoralized. Because you saw, like, obviously I had that +2. He never attacked the other +2. And then in the middle, I guess I was slowly trying to take my zone back. But I'd actually taken one of his zones. But yeah, if you look at the KD, it wasn't actually that different. And I think late game... he'd have more of an advantage simply because he doesn't run out of stuff. Whereas late game, I'm buying M1A1s, which aren't very good against human waves. And, you know, something like that Napalm Grad would just keep racking up the kills. He could kill my Arty, he could kill my AA with that. So, yeah, I think he surrendered a little bit prematurely. But yeah, here's XZCVster, rank 53 on his main account with 364... ranked games on his main account this season, which has been about 4 months or something. And 15 guys helping him, and that's one of his 2 accounts minimum. And we've had 228. So, yeah, if you want to watch a bad player, you can check out... We do actually get on, I'm just taking the piss. But yeah, we really got him with those A10s, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 21 with the A10s, and then check this guy out, Mr. Etchy here. So I think that was the guy who was over on Delta, over on that far point, because he killed a lot of guys in transports. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 16, 17, 18. So yeah, next time you find yourself assaulted by 15 top players, just beat them all, and then don't let them get a kill until 2 minutes and 14 seconds in the game. I'll see you in the next one. GG.